great Iranian nation. The Islamic Revolution of Iran was a turning point in the history of our country, the history of a country which used to be gripped by colonialism in the past and tyranny. The February 11th, 1979 revolution rid Iran of dependence on foreign countries, rid the nation of dependence on the United States, and the fate, and actually left the fate of the country in the hands of its own people. You people, which revolution do you know which still actually only 2 months into its victory, the people go to a referendum, and you see no revolution do we know which is like this. Only after 2 months, 2 months after the revolution, the victory of the revolution, exactly 74 days after the triumph of the revolution, upon orders by the late Imam Khomeini, Iranian people lined up and went to the polls in a referendum, and they voted for the Islamic Republic of Iran. In no country, in no revolution has such a thing happened. Only 1 year after the victory of the Islamic Revolution, less than a year, 10 months after the revolution, we had a constitution. In no revolution such a thing has happened. Only 1 year after the victory of the revolution, people went to the polls 5 times to cast their votes. In no revolution has this happened. All top officials, the ranking authorities of the country have been elected through election, whether directly or indirectly, in this revolution. The Islamic Revolution of Iran was a revolution of all Iranians. It is a revolution of all religions, all Iranian ethnic groups. It belongs to all groups, people from all walks of life, all generations, not only the yesterday's generation which contributed to the victory of the revolution, not only the generation 20 years ago, but even today, our younger generation, our youth, are playing a role in stabilizing and in continuing the path of the revolution. They are contributing to that, like the youth of 38 years ago. They are making devotions. They are continuing the path of the revolution. All of those who today, in the name of, they are out there in order to help promote Iran and make the Iranian nation stronger. They are here to safeguard the civilization and legacy of Iran, and they want further development and progress of Iran. All of those are the real protectors of the legacy of the revolution. All of them take pride in being revolutionaries. They are proud of that. All of those who consider Islam as a religion of justice, mercy, morality, freedom, and freedom-seeking, and a religion of standing up for the right and fighting against domination, and a religion of fairness and justice. All of those are the children of this great revolution. Our revolution does not only remain in the history, in the memories of our nation, our revolution. It plays a role in throughout our lives, in our culture, economy, politics. It has a role in all those domains, and it plays a role in all aspects of our private lives and public lives. The ideals and thoughts of the revolution remain and will remain alive, will survive. I, as a servant, as a person who serves a nation, as a soldier, since years ago, since the beginning of the Islamic movement in Iran, I have been here along with the revolution through all its ups and downs. I have been serving the nation along other people who served the nation, and I have been here with the architect of the revolution, the late Imam Khomeini. I'm telling you loud and clear that the insight and the method, a revolutionary insight, revolutionary method is one which serves to attract more and more people in order to attract more people toward itself. Being revolutionary means more dynamism, more resistance, more freedom. Being revolutionary actually is not in conformity with narrow-mindedness. A revolution is not a lake. A revolution is a flowing river which continues to flow and all the generations of today and tomorrow will join this river. Today is a day on which we should protect and safeguard and stabilize the Iranian Islamic Revolution. Today is a day when we should further stabilize the Islamic Republic. Today is a day when we should stabilize freedom and independence, stabilize the rights, the basic rights of the Iranian nation. Is a day when we should restore the rights, the civil rights of every single member of the society and safeguard those rights. Today is a day on which we should secure the dignity of all people of this nation. Today is a day when everybody should feel that they are equal. They are equal before the law. They should feel that. It makes no difference which party, which group, young and old, managers and ordinary people, officials and the laymen. Our revolution will reach its lofty ideals when all people of the society, all 80 million people, are equal before the law. And nobody should have an advantage over another. Rent-seeking is not accepted in this country. Our revolution will reach its peak when we trust one another, when our trust is 100% in one another. Our revolution reaches its peak and perfection when the Iranian nation are hopeful of the future of the system of this revolution, and they begin to increase, their hopes begin to raise. Our responsibility toward the revolution is to tell the truth and have good deeds. Our responsibility is to be accountable before the Iranian nation. Our responsibility vis-a-vis the revolution is to have a country and a nation, a society which is away from tension, and the way is open for further development and progress of the country. Our responsibility vis-a-vis the revolution is to remove the concerns of the people. Our responsibility is to provide the livelihoods of the people and raise their living standards. Our responsibility vis-a-vis the revolution is to actually allowed our elite and cultural elite, political authorities to set the scene for them to feel that they feel security. The revolution, after its triumph, opened actually ways. It went through tough paths. This revolution has been hit by waves of terror in its first years, has been hit by waves of aggression and war during its first years of victory. And actually, through the devotion of the people, it passed through all those years. Our great martyrs, our disabled war veterans, our actually former POWs, all of them, all of former war veterans, all of those who were served during the Iraqi-imposed war and during the revolution, they created honor for the nation, and we take pride in them. These great assets, these are great national assets. We shouldn't take them for granted. We should appreciate them. The great families of martyrs, disabled war veterans, former POWs, former war veterans, we should salute them and respect them. Let's announce to the whole world that our path is that of martyrs. Our path is that of former POWs and war veterans. We will not deviate from the path of revolution and the one of the late Imam Khomeini and Ayatollah Khamenei. We will never deviate from that path. Our nation, through the tough ups and downs of this revolution and twists and turns of this revolution, they found their way through all this path, through the guidelines of the leader. They didn't lose their path, and they weathered all the problems on the international stage. They faced threats and war, and they turned those into peace. Our economy today is passing through stagnation to boom, and our inflation has been harnessed. Our infrastructure in the oil industry, transportation, agriculture, and industries is improving every day and is getting stronger and moving towards progress. Our health, education, science and technology, social welfare, research, all of them are beginning to bear fruit. All the past 38 years, the 38 years since the victory of the Islamic Revolution, all this path has been one of honor and dignity for us. Let me enumerate a few cases of efforts made over the past few years. And achieving these ends have been made possible only through the resistance and presence of the people and their devotion in order to safeguard our rights. All of us stood behind the leader, and we achieved very good results. Today, our nuclear right, the whole world has accepted our nuclear right. Today, we are happy to see that our nuclear industry is offering its products to the world and is moving on the path to global trade. We have produced the heavy water that we have produced through the efforts of our young scientists. We are sending and exporting, and we exported that heavy water to the US and Russia, and we will export it to other countries as well. Concerning the Iraq reactor, we have redesigned that reactor, and the Iraq reactor is now more modern than before. It will be reconstructed in the field of centrifuges. We achieved one of the most modern centrifuges, the IR8 centrifuges. 3 years ago, the time when I said, in addition to economic boom, our centrifuge will continue to spin, nobody would have thought that our young scientists will move from IR2, 3, 4, 6, will pass through all of them and reach IR8 centrifuges. You see, over the past weeks, UF6 was injected into these IR8 centrifuges. This means progress by our scientists on the path to progress and also in the nuclear field. Today, we have secured and regained our nuclear right. We are in a situation in which, since the very beginning of the revolution until now, until the last Iranian year, calendar Iranian year, we hadn't even imported 1 gram of yellow cake into the country. Ill-wishers didn't allow us to do so. They had banned trade on that. They had blocked trade in that area. But by God's grace, now but over the past few months, we imported more than 350 tons of uranium and yellow cake. Whatever. Actually, the tyrannical pressure by ill-wishers on Iran, our oil, gaseous condensates had been limited. They had blocked our path. Actually, we opened up the path to promotion of production products. Our oil products, crude oil and gaseous condensates stood at 1,200,000 barrels a day. But today it has reached 2,800,000 barrels. That means more than 2 times. 2.3 times more than last year. Those who are saying that the Iranian nation is not making progress should pay attention to these figures. Foreign ill-wishers, they are creating the impression that over the past 38 years, we have been hit by backwardness and underdevelopment. They should pay attention to these figures. At the OPEC meeting, we secured the right of the Iranian nation to produce crude oil and export oil. We secured that right through a successful oil diplomacy. We take pride in that. This is the glory of the Iranian nation. $1.7 billion in Iranian assets blocked by the U.S. in American banks. We got back that amount from them. The treason of the U.S. vis-a-vis the Iranian nation. The U.S., which trampled the Iranian nation's rights underfoot, and with its sham trials and sham courts, during the 1980s, the U.S. plundered actually and seized our assets. In the past months, it seized our assets. We filed a lawsuit against the U.S. At The Hague, and we have registered that lawsuit, and we will continue until our rights will be secured. Our diplomats, legal experts, politicians will continue until securing and regaining our rights. Over the past 3.5 years, thanks to efforts by you, entrepreneurs, young people, women and men, all people, all those who lived in villages and towns, everybody, thanks to efforts by you all, we managed to improve our economic growth from -6 to plus 7.4% economic boom, and we pushed down inflation from 40% to 8% for the first time over the past 37 years. Our trade balance for exports and imports, non-oil imports and exports, we made it positive. Last year, non-oil exports and non-oil imports, our exports stood at more than $900 million, actually rose by more than $900 million after 37 years. After 37 years, it was the first time that we managed to secure a positive trade balance. This year as well, our non-oil exports actually will be more than our imports. Over the past years, in the 1980s, there were some years during which our trade balance stood at -$20 billion. That meant what we exported, we also imported things. And in addition to $20 billion from oil income for imports, last year and this year, we haven't needed the oil money to import things. Our non-oil imports have been more than non-oil exports, and this is an honor for the nation, for the government, for the revolution, and for our younger generation. Dear youth, in this administration, over the past 3 years, every year in the budget, in the national budget, our dependence on oil has decreased. The same point that the leader of the Islamic revolution has stressed. During the years before this revolution, our dependence on oil was 44% on average. Over the past 3 years, our dependence on oil has been 32%. This means we are moving toward achieving the lofty ideals of the Islamic Revolution. We are treading that path well and smoothly, and we are on the right path. Today, we are in a situation in which, by God's grace, until the end of the term of this administration, for the first time in the South Park's oil and gas field, our natural gas extraction will be more than the amount of natural gas that Qatar is extracting. Over the past years, sometimes Qatar extracted gas twice more than us, sometimes 2.5 times more than us. That is a common oil and gas field between Iran and Qatar. You know, in the South Pars gas field, oil and gas field, during the past administrations, 10 phases of that field came online and were inaugurated. But during this administration, hopefully 11 phases will come on a stream. Our extraction, the amount of the natural gas we extract from the South Pars was 240 million cubic meters of natural gas per day. But now it stands around 500 cubic meters of natural gas in South Pars on a daily basis. And hopefully by the end of the administration, the figure will rise to 560 million cubic meters a day, which will be more than the amount extracted by Qatar. This is the glory of the Iranian nation. From a common, a joint natural gas field, our neighbor used to extract twice more than us, but thanks to efforts by our experts, engineers, workers, all our young people, scientists, now we have reached a point at which we are both extracting the same amount. Dear Iranian nation, this year, we inaugurated 9 major petrochemical projects, and by the end of this administration, another 7 petrochemical projects will be inaugurated. Our production in this administration compared to the past has increased by 14% into petrochemical sector. Our exports in this administration have increased 46%. Those who are just sitting back and just kicking up a fuss, and they think that the establishment of the Islamic Revolution of the Iranian nation is just talking the talk and not walking the walk, they should know that the Iranian nation, in many fields, many arenas, even in the world, we are among the top 10 countries in the world. Why don't you compare this with 38 years ago and the condition of Iran 38 years ago, when it was a dependent country and only imported things at that time? Great Iranian nation, for our dear villagers, in order to achieve our lofty ideals, our revolution took place in order to administer justice, to help the oppressed. Our roads in villages, we have supplied natural gas to our urban areas today, and even supplying electricity to villages and urban areas. You know, all villages who have more than 20, where more than 20 families live, all of them have electricity. And by the end of the administration, the 11th administration, all villages in which at least 10 families live will have electricity. Today, actually, our natural gas supply, more than 90% of the whole country is supplied with natural gas. Many remote areas, natural gas pipelines have been laid in order to provide energy during the cold season and winter. We have supplied natural gas to them. By year's end, hopefully, our gas pipelines will go all the way to Zahedan, and people in Sistan, Balochistan will be supplied with natural gas. Dear Iranian nation, our trade balance in the agriculture sector at the beginning of this administration, we had $8 billion deficit. It means in order to import foodstuff in 1 year, we had to pay $8 billion. But now, today, thanks to the efforts by our dear farmers, today, this year actually, our trade balance has only $2 billion deficit, from $8 billion deficit actually to $2 billion deficit. You see, we have been able to make up for $6 billion deficit thanks to efforts by our farmers. You see, 3 years ago, our agricultural production stood at 97 million tons, but today our agriculture produce stand at 180 million tons. Our water efficiency in the past was 37%, but thanks to efforts made in the irrigation field, modern irrigation field and all that, our irrigation efficiency stands at 42% today. In many agricultural areas, actually, those areas have been modernized with the state-of-the-art agricultural equipment in order to produce more products and produce. You know, during the past years, we imported wheat, but this year we exported wheat. And God willing, we hope that next year the case will be the same. 3 years ago, 4.2, we bought 4.2 million tons of wheat from farmers, but this year we bought 11.5 million tons of wheat from farmers. That means we have been witnessing a considerable rise in the agriculture sector. You know, rise in the agriculture sector in the first 6 months of this year was more than 5%. That means that in the agriculture sector, we have redoubled our efforts in order to secure self-sufficiency, which is the message of the Islamic revolution, and we are continuing that. In the field of transportation, our air fleet, our rail fleet, our road fleet, road transportation fleet. Now the situation in which we are now is much better than what was 4 years ago. Thanks to efforts by our diplomats, we managed to break the sanctions on airplane sales to Iran, so that people will have more safety while traveling by air. Over the past 3 years, we established 564 kilometers of railroad. We inaugurated that, and around another 1,000 kilometers of railroad will be inaugurated soon. 216 kilometers of highways have been inaugurated, 2,511,000 kilometers of expressways, and 2,670 kilometers of new roads have been inaugurated. for the Maskan Mer, which is actually affordable housing units for the low-income families. We managed to finish 756,000 housing units and give them to people along with all services, associated services, including schools, gas, everything which is required. By the end of this administration, 845,000 more units, affordable housing units, will be offered to the people. By actually, we have inaugurated 7,000 megawatts of electricity in this administration. In the region, we stand first as far as power generation is concerned, and we are 15th in the whole world in terms of power generation. We inaugurated a lot of dams in this administration. Actually, more than 4 billion cubic meters of water have been increased to the catchment of dams. We have provided insurance coverage for more than 10 million people. For more than 11 million people, we provided food baskets. We paid for the hospital costs of people, and we decreased those costs for people both in the villages and in the towns. We now stand in the second place in the world in terms of training engineers, and we stand in the third place in the world in terms of scientific progress, and we stand in the fifth place in terms of job creation. Of course, we have a lot of problems in the field of employment. Unemployment is a big scourge facing the Iranian nation. Over the past 1 year, around 500,000 jobless people have increased. But on the other hand, 700,000 jobs have been created in the world. We are the fifth country in the world which has been able to create 700,000 jobs in 1 year. This means progress, the progress of the country and the progress of the Iranian nation and the progress of the Islamic Revolution as well. In the nanotechnology, now we stand 6th in the world. When it comes to defense capabilities, we are the 7th country in the world. Dear young and revolutionary people of Iran, those who think the 11th administration is only thinking of economy and foreign policy and cultural freedom and social freedom, they should know that over the past 3.5 years, production of light ammunition, light weapons has increased inside Iran. This is the official figures released by the Iranian Defense Ministry. Important and strategic products produced in the country during the 11th administration has increased by 1.4% compared to the past 10 years. You see, the past decade, everything which has been produced in the defense and strategic section, everything around 1.4% more of that has been produced during this administration. This means that this administration is paying attention to all dimensions of the nation and the establishment in order to defend its enemies, and is vigilant enough, is on the watch. Dear Iranian nation, you should know that today we are at a time when the path that we have treaded over the past 38 years, well, we have come along a long path, but we have a long road ahead. We need to go along a long road ahead. We know that our nation wants better living standards, and they have every right to be demanding that. We know that our elite intellectuals, artists, academicians, our groups and assemblies, our women, our different ethnic groups, all of them want an opener atmosphere in order to be able to have better activities. They complain about narrow-mindedness. We should join hands, combat corruption in this country, fight corruption, corrupt rent-seeking in this country. As long as corruption is there, it's not possible to achieve economic boom. As long as corruption is there, we cannot achieve the progress that we expect. So still, in this society, we have a lot of problems, social problems. Still, there are many people living on the suburbs, drug addiction, a lot of a high divorce rate, a lot of a high unemployment rate, poverty exists. This means that the path of the Islamic Revolution with jihadi management, we should continue that path with jihadi management. Despite ill wishers, we have achieved all the lofty ideals. We will achieve all lofty ideals of the revolution. Our people should know that if we want to make progress, the key to that is unity, solidarity, observing moral principles, trusting one another. The key to that is to help the government remain united and bring the three branches of government all together and create unity. Fortunately, a good relationship exists among the three branches of government as well as other groups, armed forces, all those who are defending this country today, and those who are defending the holy shrines and the sanctities, our sanctities. Dear people, revolutionaries, young people, academics, intellectuals, all of you should know that anybody who wants to paint a black picture of the establishment is not a revolutionary person. Anybody who wants to bipolarize the society is not revolutionary. Anyone who seeks to create tension in this society is not revolutionary. We have criteria for the revolution. The criteria for being a revolutionary is to follow in the footsteps of the late Imam. The criteria is to follow the guidelines of the Islamic Revolution leader, the Constitution. Differences of opinion and different tastes should not be the criteria and the yardstick. Personal interests should not be seen as the yardstick. Today, we are facing problems in the region and in the whole world. However, it is this great Iranian nation created an epic today, and with the efforts they make today, they will not be scared and will not be afraid. We are facing a problem in the region, in our region. Some nouveau riche have taken power in the whole world, and in the U.S., some parvenus have assumed power. All of those should know that in the face vis-a-vis the Iranian nation, they should respect the Iranian nation and they should deal with this nation. They should talk to this nation with respect. This nation will give a definitive response to any threats. A person who threatens our government and armed forces. They should know that our nation is a united nation, is well aware, and will stand up to all ill-wishers and all enemies and stand up to them, stand to the end. We have vigilant people, they are logical people, and they are wise enough. At the right time, they have used their wisdom and vigilance. They have used their vigilance at the right time. A few weeks ago, people bid farewell to Ayatollah Hashemi Rafsanjani. They were vigilant enough, they were aware, and they showed their vigilance vis-a-vis this great nation. We should salute this nation. Despite some problems, criticism, the establishment and the revolution has always relied on political elite and people and the revolutionaries vis-a-vis whatever threat and unwise move and any move to fuel tension. Against all those moves, we will stand up to such moves with power. We will stand up to those moves. Our power comes from the power of our great nation. We are not seeking tension in the region and in the world. However, we will stand up to those who have an eye on the Iranian nation. We will stand up to them with determination, with power. We won't give up to bullying and threat. We will take on board all we have, people from the villages and towns. With one voice, we will stand up to that. We are telling all ill-wishers, here is Iran, a place for brave men. Nobody can have an eye of greed on the Iranian nation. In the coming months, we will show our power when people go to the polls, and we will show our power to all ill-wishers, to all world powers, to hegemonic powers. The language, the clear language of the Iranian nation will be the ballot boxes. We are seeking to build a freedom-seeking Iran, an independent Iran. All of us follow the guidelines of the leader of the Islamic Revolution and follow him, and we seek reconciliation, national reconciliation and unity. We want to promote the objectives of the Islamic Revolution. We take pride in 38 years of revolution. We take pride on efforts made by our nation and the administration over the past 3.5 years. We respect those efforts, and our future will be one full of hope, thanked by God's grace. May God bless you all.